Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good day to everyone. My name is Akmal Hamizan bin Bahrain, IDI 2308014, and today our group will be presenting about our group project for variety of English language subject. In this video, we will explain about our finding based on the interview session that we had conducted with each of our respective subject on 6 different countries and culture. The main reason why this interview session were conducted is to find out the background of English in their countries and how English is influenced by many aspects in their countries, as to see items in terms of code mixing and borrowing of lexical that are used in their country align with our finding and research or not. Now, let's talk about the countries that I did my research on. Alright, the country that I did my research on is Bangladesh. Bangladesh is a country that is located in the middle of the Asian continent, and it has a lot of culture and languages that contribute to the usage of English language in their daily use. Before that, I would like to explain my subject. My subject name is Muhammad Shadman Habib. He is a student that is currently studying in Malaysia, and he is taking civil engineering. He is a civil engineering student. He is currently living in Malaysia for about 1 years and a half, and he is born in Bangladesh, and he had a good understanding and also fluent in English language. So he is one of the best subject that I can find to interview for their country.
I am Muhammad Sadman Al Habib. I am a civil engineering student in University Technology Malaysia. Currently, I'm in third semester.
Third semester. Alright. Right.
Yeah,
May I know how old are you?
I am 22 years old.
22 years old. Alright. So I'm 20 this year. So we'll be 2 years apart. Alright. Now, let's talk about their history on how English came into Bangladesh. According to Shatman, he said that the history of English in Bangladesh went back before Bangladesh was not even a country. Back then, it was a combination of 3 countries, which is India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. So the British Empire came to conquer the land of India. However, since there are 3 main tribes, which is the people from Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh, which is still before they become 3 different countries, they speak different dialects and languages. This causes the British to have a lot of problems to communicate with them. So, according to Shatman, he said that the British forced people from these 3 places to learn English so they can communicate well with the British colonizer.
Okay, so Bangladesh, India, and Pakistan, these three countries were one unit a long time ago when
Hmm?
British colonized us. So in that time, we got exposure with English. We get to know about English,
Hmm?
and we have different languages in different parts of the country. So it was very difficult to communicate with each other and to understand what they're saying.
Hmm?
So the British people like as they were colonized, we were colonized by them. So they forced us actually to learn English, and we get to learn English actually because of them.
All right. So after Bangladesh gained their independence, English is still carry on, and it is used in many aspects in their life. For instance, they use it in the government's financials, health, and even education. So this align well with our research that we found, which is according to Rahman 2019, English also become one of the most important aspect in the Bangladesh societies. Next, let's talk about the code mixing aspect on lexical at the country of Bangladesh. According to Sharman, he said that the influence of their native language, Bangla, causes them to use some words from their language into their English conversation. However, this only occurs when they are talking about someone from their culture that is not fluent in English and doesn't have high English proficiency. This can be seen through as the research align with our findings, which is by Chowdhury Alisha Kamal 2024, which stated that learners with a lack of confidence practice anxiety, fear of criticism, motivation, supportive environment, insufficiency of language depth, and negative judgment are some of the significant challenges learners and teachers are forced to contend with in developing in their speaking competency. Another aspect that can be seen that was taught by Shatman, which is borrowing. In Bangla, most people does not borrow any words of their native language when they are speaking English, especially when they are really fluent in English. When they speak with someone that is not fluent in English, they doesn't use a proper grammar. However, they shorten it into important sentence.
Okay. To explain this question, suppose someone do not suppose someone know a little bit of English, he
Yep.
don't know any grammar, he just understands some words. So when I have to explain a whole sentence, suppose he wants to eat chicken,
Mm.
he knows the word eat, he knows the word chicken. So if I have to speak to him, I will just use these two main words to explain the whole sentence. Like, eat chicken.
Mm.
If I use these two words, he will understand what I want to say in the whole sentence. Like I have to maybe have to uh, continue the conversation with him like this, actually.
Nevertheless, they do borrow English words into their daily conversation. Like for instance, the word football, which is an English word, even though they have a word in their native language, in their Bengali, Bangla, and other language word for football, they decided to use the word football because it is something that is understandable among all of their races or ethnic in their country.
Okay, to explain this question, there are a few words in my mind, such as a word table, chair, football, cricket. Suppose these
Mm,
four words. Okay, so from my very childhood, I'm hearing about these words in English and Bangla. Like both we use as same. Even though there are different Bangla words for chair, table, for
mm,
these kinds of words, but when speaking, even in Bangla, we use these words in English. So
mm,
also some conjunctions like but and
mm.
when we speak Bangla, when we mix two sentence, we use the word and. If the sentence contradict, we use but. Like that. We use these conjunctions as well.
The main reason why they choose to speak more in English rather than they choose to speak in their native language because of the factors of social media. According to Saleh Ahmad and Fatimatus Johora 2020, foreign entertainment media of different popular cultures and online social media are the three most important factors that influence young people to adopt foreign words. So, it is true that media play a huge role in contributing to the Bangladesh people to borrow words from English and to use words from English in their daily conversation, especially with peoples that know how to speak English. I believe that is all from me from the country of Bangladesh. Next, I'll pass this to my friend that will also talk about another outer circle country that will be related the same as what I did.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Adizain B. Asmadi from DEC 5E. Will be presenting about my finding during VAL interview about Nigerian English. The reason Nigeria was chosen because in Nigeria, English is a co-official language alongside three other indigenous languages such as Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba. However, this is only principle because in practice, English is used as the sole official language in almost all official contexts, including governance, education, mass media, law courts, and others. So, my hypothesis is that English has influenced Nigerian language through borrowing, code mixing, and code switching. As for the interview background, His name is Umar Abdul Aziz, which known as Umar. He is 20 years old and also a student at IIM Gombak, which pursued his study for degree in computer science. He was born and raised in Nigeria, and he is suitable to be my subject to be interviewed about Nigerian pidgin or English language they use. So before we start with our finding, we need to know about the development of English in Nigeria. So according to Omar, English come to Nigeria due to the result of British colonialism in 19th century, which is 1914 to 1915, to control the citizen for missionary activities, which is trading and so on. Later, the Western introduced Western education and the language is English. Then it started to influence the language of Nigerian people. The English was known as Nigerian Pidgin, which is also known as broken English, and become lingua franca among the Nigerian citizen.
Let you aware that in Nigeria we have another special English. It is called English, broken English or pidgin. Like if I say, "Wetin be your name?" It means that what is your name? If I say, "Where you dey waka go?" It means where are you going to? It is English, but they try to convert this in a easy way.
As for the current progress of English in Nigeria, Olma stated that English is an important language as a way to communicate with each other due to various tribes in Nigeria. Other than that, it is important for business to language barrier. And according to Omar, in the interview, he said that according to him, his own opinion, he said that English is important for the education because most of it teach in English.
Very important in the development of our country because our country has a lot of tribes that we can't understand each language. I have a friend here, he's from another tribe. We can't understand each other due to English that make as an official language in Nigeria. We are able to communicate to each other. That's a development, one development. We are able to communicate to each other, no matter the tribe you are. We can able to communicate to each other. Then business, it is important in business. If you are doing business, you must know how to communicate in English because due to language barrier. So English is very important. Number two, in education, because we study here in Nigeria, the language spoken to us is in Nigeria as an education is English. So it is important, very important in education.
On to our finding, um, our question is that are there any differences between how the older people and the youngster in his country when they speak in English? And according to Umar, he said there is some difference, which is in terms of pronunciation, which the older people tend to be more formal compared to the younger generation. And here's other proof video of how he is saying.
Yeah, there are noticeable differences in how old and younger people in Nigeria speak English. These are the difference. Let me start from the pronunciation accent. Older generation, their English pronunciation is often more formal and influenced by British because they were taught by British directly. So they decide to try and pronounce it well how they taught them. But the younger generation, they tend to have more relaxed pronunciation.
According to the clip, Omar said that older people learn English directly from British during the colonization. This led to the older generation speak formal English compared to the younger generation because younger generation according to Omar again, he said that younger generation learn more from social media, music, and entertainment such as movie like that. So this leads to why the younger generation pronunciation is more relaxed and more with American accent, and the slang is a bit different compared to the older generation. Move on to our next finding. The question is, what are some words in your native language that you use in English conversation? According to Omar, some words such as shebi and uya is commonly used. Shebi is commonly used to ask a question, and another word is uya, which used to encourage people to do something. For example, like shebi, your name is Adi, such as like that. And uya is like, according to him, uya is used to encourage people, such as uya, let's eat. Uya, let's go hunt, something like that. And this is a clip or video that prove my points.
Shebi, if I say Shebi, Shebi, your name is Adi Azin. It means that is your name Adi Azin. Shebi is used for to ask question, but like it is more constant in everybody's mouth, like Shebi, Shebi. Oya, 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 let's continue. Oya means like for preparation for like let's do something to empower people, like let's go. Oya, let's go. Oya, let's eat.
And in the next finding, the question I asked him is that is his country famous for switching or mixing between English and his mother tongue language? And according to Omar, it is both famous and infamous. Which it famous during in an informal communication, which is among friends or families. And however, according to Omar, the use of code missing or code switching is infamous during formal communication, according to him, because this is due to the reputation of English globally. Because according to him, Nigeria is the second best spoken language among others country.
Yes, no, it's not famous. It's famous if we are talking not an informal speech, but it's not famous in an formal gathering. Formal gathering. It's not formal because Nigeria is one of the country that speaks the best English after the Uganda people.
In addition to what Omar just said, um, according to our research, is that Nigerian people tend to use code switching more often during conversation. They are more relaxed and during try to communicate with other tribe, because they the English that Omar spoke actually isn't the formal English, but we all know that Omar speak during using the pidgin English, which is to communicate with other tribe, like Omar just said in the previous slides. So the reason why code switching often used in informal language, it is because in terms of communication. However, the reason why code missing and code switching is not famous during formal conversation is to educate and is to communicate with other speakers that are not Nigerian, such as American, British, or other countries that are not familiar with the pidgin of Nigeria. And my last finding during the interview session is that um, the frequency that Nigerian people use English and their native language in the same conversation. According to Omar, it is frequently used among native speakers. However, when he tried to communicate with other speakers that are not Nigerian, it will become quite difficult because his English is considered as a broken English, and most people are struggle to understand how he speak according to his experience during study at IIM Gombak.
Frequently, yeah, people use because nowadays now the most common English that we use speak in Nigeria, it is broken English. So it is frequently that you see people just be speaking English, but you would understand, but it is English, but you cannot understand because I do speak to my friend here also. They'll be like, huh? What are you saying? It is English, so you can't understand anything. Yeah, I can understand. Okay, then I will now explain that it is another English caller. Because they prefer to speak in English. How you guys also prefer to speak local than be speaking in formal way. That's how also we prefer to speaking English in native language than speaking it. So it is more frequent, more frequent.
Conclusion, in this interview, it proved that my hypothesis is that English does influence Nigerian language in terms of borrowing, code mixing, and code switching during conversation in life. So that's all from me. Thank you for listening.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Muhammad Syami bin Muhammad Talha and I will be presenting on Pakistan English lexical feature and I will be analyzing how English has influenced the Urdu language. Before we begin, let me introduce my subject for my study. His name is Muhammad Nasir Uddin and he is 27 years old and originally from Karachi, Pakistan. He grew up in Pakistan, but right now he's living in Texas, United States. His background involves Urdu as a first language while also being fluent in English as a common scenario for many Pakistanis. So, understanding his experiences will help us analyze how English is used in Pakistan.
What I can say about English in Pakistan is that, after Urdu, which is the official language of Pakistan, English has been, you could say, like the second language that most people will understand. Now, Pakistan has a lot of languages depending on the region and the states. But the second language that most people can read and write is English. Now, obviously, a lot of people, right? Because I grew up in Pakistan before that. So only people that could actually speak and understand English better were the one who went to the school that were only like English speaking, or when people went to the higher education or like secondary education. But besides that, most people could not easily understand English or speak. But after internet, people got more exposure to the world, and you can say that now English is a lot more common in Pakistan, and most people can speak and understand.
Now, let's look at the historical development of English in Pakistan. During my interview session, he mentioned that English has historically been a second language in Pakistan, following Urdu, which is the national language. He also mentioned that older generation had limited exposure to English. However, younger generation are more exposed due to globalization and the internet. Certain schools, especially in Karachi, strictly emphasize English, possibly due to their affiliation with Western education system. According to Ali, English has become a compulsory part of the school syllabus along with Urdu and regional language. This shows how English is deeply embedded in Pakistan education system. So, do you consider English as an important aspect language in your country? And if you say yes, and why?
I would say yes because most one of the most important reason is education because most of the education is relied on English and also because you have to communicate with people around the world and that is why English is very important for people to at least know the basics of it.
Moving on, let's discuss the power and influence of English in Pakistan. English is crucial for Pakistan development, especially in education, business, and international relations. So, the younger generation is more fluent in English due to technology and social media, which expose them to global trends. In some cases, English is preferred over Urdu in professional and academic settings. It is commonly used in texting, business, and higher education, making it integral of part of daily communication. So, this widespread use of English reflects its importance in Pakistan growth.
Yeah.
The question is,
Hmm.
are there any English words or phrases
Hmm.
that have taken on a totally different meaning in Urdu compared to
Hmm.
how they are used? So can you, if there's have, can you give some example for it?
I would say, yeah, there are some words because when we're talking about the words, there's also a context. So, yes, there are some English words that might be, you could say, misinterpreted uh, in Urdu. I can't really think of any word top of my head, but I guess like sometimes people take the literal meaning of any English word. For example, there is a English word, let's say like technical, right? So
Yes.
when you're talking in an English term, it doesn't necessarily mean to like technology or like technical. But in Urdu, the way you translate is going to be translated more towards like technology because we use the word technical to describing non-technical situations as well. So yeah, there are some words people misinterpret. So most important thing is you have to understand the context.
So now, let's explore some key lexical feature of Pakistan in English. So, there are some loan words which is a number and depend have no Urdu equivalent and are commonly used in Urdu conversation. So, they also have code mixing which many Pakistanis mix English and Urdu in daily speech. According to Riaz, this code mixing and code switching occur frequently in media, advertising, textbook, and online communication. Next is the semantic shift. Some English words have taken on differently meaning in Urdu. For some example, the word technical in English has a broad meaning, but in Urdu it is mainly associated with technology and engineering. These lexical influences highlight how English has merged with Urdu in unique way. To be concluded, English plays a major role in Pakistan education, business, and also in communicate sector. Code mixing and loanword have become common in Urdu conversation. There also ongoing debate on whether English enriches Urdu or threatens its as originality. There also English is not replacing Urdu, it is deeply integrated into daily life, shaping how people speak and write. Thank you for giving your time.